Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm the greystrega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Friday, September 12th, 2025. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? Well, they came out fast. I didn't even have a chance to finish what I was saying. Okay. We have here our Page of Swords in its upright in combination with our Knight of Swords in its reversal. Let's talk a little bit about the inner child healing that this retrograde, that this confluence, this cryptic eclipse, this confluence of retrograde and eclipse energy is bringing to bear. Now, let's talk like the thing, and I want to define and I want to describe this. Inner child healing does not mean going back to the time that you're 6. Okay? Inner child healing is working into the context of healing from something in the space by which you are not holding the same energetic standards as one does today. That is what inner child healing is. There's this misconception that inner child healing requires us to go all the way back to the child. The space by which we understand inner child healing is the space by which we are energetically protective and honoring ourselves. Often, and this is what I keep on seeing that's happening right now with this eclipse cycle, there's something really important to be navigated and articulated in the context of change as well. Because the space by which we change, how we change is how we energetically honor our journey. We're supposed to change, right? Like that is change is energetically transformative. And and I like to describe that the definition between change and we're gonna see a lot of this right now in the space of and this is what we kind of, and like we're going to talk a lot about this type of stuff because it's like working through nuance when we're going through Uranus in Gemini during a retrograde, which is the change that occurs via the fortification of the standards of the self versus the standards, the change that is too adaptable, where one is not able to maintain or hold one's own energetic standards. Now, this is often difficult work, right? Because it's a conversation that says, how does one transform while also honoring standards? By being able to recognize and identify the shape of the self, right? It's the space by which we understand and recognize ourselves that allows us to hold energetic standards towards things. And when we have, and this is why often we're able to do the work in healing from rejection. Because when you know yourself, rejection doesn't bother you as much, right? Only, like, again, if you're experiencing something that is an energetic rejection point in relationality to something that one could be doing better, then it's always the context by which one is able to adapt. Right? It is effectively a process of growth, if you will. It's a process of being able to energetically learn. It's also the space by which we understand and recognize and work through something to a certain extent, and we allow the objectivity that helps us build into the space of feeling fortified in relationality to our own sense of self. And this is why the reason I'm bringing this up is because I feel like there's a lot of work that's happening right now in the context of the energy in separation, working to dispel misconceptions. And why do we see that a lot of that energy in separation is working to dispel misconceptions? Because the space by which we know ourselves, and remember when I said that for some of these relationships, like I see that there is some energy in separation that has, and we were talking about this yesterday, they're embracing their standards, right? They're in separation and they're recognizing their standards. They're identifying them. They're holding them with more of a sense of energetic strength. And I almost feel like the energy, like this is like, I mean, like this is the reclamation of the self that often has in identifying our standards. This is often when the inner child healing starts, right? Because, and this is what we mean in terms of understanding what it is that we're working to reconcile versus what it is that we're working to heal from, is the identification of holding our standards and either seeing those experiences or modalities where another person was trying to draw us towards them via the act of having to surrender them, in which case we work on forgiving ourselves, right? For forgetting ourselves in those moments, or those modalities or experiences that allow the context of understanding that healthy partnership never requires us to surrender our standards. In fact, they hold them for us. And this is why, remember when I said I see two different modalities in separation right now during this retrograde eclipse. This is either, I will tell you, I see some marginal work that's happening right now in relationality to resolution or healing. The context by which I see that healing is occurring are in spaces or places where, and this might even be healing from things that happened during another eclipse cycle, because what I'm identifying here feels very eclipsy. What we often identify as something that would happen during an eclipse cycle? Bringing an overabundance of emotionality to something that was not necessarily all that important. The overabundance of emotionality that is something that is very energetically marginal. When we understand, right? And that's why we said that those are relationships that are potentially healing via the accountability, because that's the space of one identifying oneself and potentially even coming into the space of articulating. Like I keep on hearing, like the space by which one asks for forgiveness when it feels like that was the intensification. And that is a conversation on the fact that time helps us heal that, because time gives us the gift of perspective. Now, for a lot of the energy right now, a majority of the energy, though, in separation that I'm seeing, if these were circumstances or situations, and this is what we were talking about the difference between what time and intent cannot heal. Time in the space of giving us distance. This is often why when we feel very emotional for the fact that we have to hold standards on something, we often feel angry at ourselves, right? We often like beat ourselves up. We get mad at ourselves going like, why did I have to feel so like emotional about something? Time says, come with me. I want to show you something, right? And so that ability of time giving us perspective, being able to move something from something with perspective, what does time show us? Helps us remember our standards. And when we remember our standards, then often in moments that we're beating ourselves up because we are emotional, we feel energetically reaffirmed, right? The comprehension, like the gift of time is the perspective that allows for comprehension. That is either the comprehension and being able to articulate to another what one could do better, or being able to feel very, very validated in relationality to why one is feeling. And that's why I kept on saying yesterday that remember when I said that there's a little bit of this energy and separation going through rude awakening cycles. And why are we calling them rude awakening cycles? Because it's discourteous to see someone holding an energetic standard and feel they to be emotional, because one is never emotional when one is energetically defending something. It is the emotions that rise up because someone is protecting something that is important. And so that's why I keep on seeing, like, this is why I see the Page of Swords and Knight of Swords in its reversal, because this is a lot of the energy. I see that there's potentially some energy right now in separation, going through the experience of someone coming back and going, are you done being emotional? And someone says, I was never being emotional. In fact, I prepared a lecture. I prepared a lecture. I mean, would you like to see my lecture on why that was not emotional, right? Because it's the comprehension of the self, the ability to identify and articulate upon emotions is what fortifies the difference between being compassionate, which is the space by which we can communicate on our passions, versus being dispassionate. And what's interesting about dispassion and compassion is they can look very similar from the outside. Now, what is the difference between dispassion and compassion? Dispassion is being led by the emotions, right? It's just doing, it's like letting the emotions just wherever you want to go, right? Letting the emotions go nuts and then trying to articulate reasons why later, right? When we're led by our emotions, those are not fortified emotions, because we can feel emotions. Like, you can have emotions for eating a bad sandwich. Like emotions, having emotions, we do not honor all of our emotions. It's we test the stability of our emotions through internal contemplation with the self, which is why we talk about compassion isn't niceness. Compassion is communicating on passion, being able to talk about why something is important. So that's why, and so again, if there were relationships, this is what I meant about some relationships coming into separation via the different standards, because often we can understand and recognize we have different standards when someone sees us being compassionate and assumes we're being dispassionate, right? So that's why I keep on seeing that if these are modalities or moments where someone was carrying trauma around something, articulating and feeling emotions for something, another person goes away, right? Then doing the work on healing, understanding why they felt the way they did, being able to build words towards it, working to identify and recognize more. That's why I keep on seeing the energy of someone potentially coming back saying, "Are you done being emotional?" And someone says, "I prepared a lecture," which is the space by which it was saying it was never emotion. Those were the emotions that were rising up because there was something important. It's not emotions if it's a conversation. Continuing to get clarification, this is what I mean about these relationships that are coming together right now, because we do see an energetic shift that's happening right now in partnership. I'm getting some strong indications these are going to be moon partnerships. And the reason I keep on seeing that these are going to be moon partnerships right now is, and it has to do, I keep on saying it has to do with the confluence of the fact that we're going through the retrograde at the same time as the eclipse, which is the understanding and recognition point that healing is an act of comprehension, right? Healing is indulgent when we do not understand the process of our healing cycle. When we're able to put energetic words to things, we begin to heal, because it's the harmony of bringing logic to the energetic space of spirituality. It's the space by which we work to understand ourselves, and we understand that it's not separate; it's energetically holistic, right? That the understanding, and I keep on seeing. And I feel like, and that's what I keep on seeing. And the reason I see this is I'm seeing some energetic conversations that are happening right now in relationality to both the separation from something that was not supportive of the self, but working towards healthy partnership that says one can inhabit both spheres. One can have standards and still be passionate, right? That standards do not require one to abandon passion, that when we understand the standards we hold, we build passion around them. We build passion around them. We build a lot of passion around them, right? Because it's the space by which we speak upon why it's so energetically important. And so I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy right now, I want to say there's something about these new relationships that are coming together right now as it relates to working through nuance and delicacy, right? I keep on hearing, like, that's what I keep on seeing in relationality to some of these relationships that are forming right now. I keep on hearing there's nuance and delicacy, specifically and particularly because I keep on hearing I keep on hearing when we care about things, we navigate things energetically delicately. So I almost see that there's a lot of this space where I almost feel like I want to describe this. Like it almost says to me, it's almost like these unconscious conversations that are coming through the vibration of being able to like work through something energetically together, or working through, I keep on hearing like working through complicated emotions, or talking upon things in a complicated fashion. And that's why I keep on seeing that if these are like I said, if these are and remember, I keep on hearing like there's a door closing an unhealthy partnership with the words "we're supposed to," right? Which is the space by which another person says, "Are you done being emotional?" And someone saying, "We're supposed to be emotional," right? Like it's more of the conversation of understanding that this is why standards are so important, because the same things that would be considered gifts in healthy partnership will be seen as energetic detriments in unhealthy ones, which is the space by which it says you're not, it's okay to be emotional so much as your emotions are not guiding the self so much as they're informing the self. It's okay to have needs so long as they are a fixed point of need, which is a standard, rather than a need that is here, there, or everywhere, which is being too energetically fickle. It's okay, like it's okay to desire to center a partner, right? The attention that we bring to someone, because in healthy partnership, we center upon one another. But if we're in, as long as we're not trying to make ourselves the center of another person's experience. So we keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy, like this is what I mean in terms of something coming back from the past and someone saying, "Are you done yet?" Another person saying, "We're supposed to," which is the space by which one says when we build into healthy partnership, we're never done anything. We start things. We don't end things. Continuing to get clarification between our fourth and fifth cards in our 5-card spread. We have here our King of Swords in its reversal in combination with our 7 of Pentacles in its reversal. For a lot of the energy, for the energy that is the energy moving deeper into union right now, I keep on seeing that for a lot of these relationships, there's a lot of work that we're seeing that is being done as it relates to working through. Remember what? Let's talk about the temperance relationships. I'm jumping ahead of myself. The temperance relationships are the energies that are facilitating upon the mutual effort, right? These were the relationships that were coming together between the solstice period up until the time that Mercury and Venus stationed direct behind Neptune. No, correction. I'm correcting myself. Sorry. We're doing some shifts, so it takes me a minute to catch back up. From the solstice period, from the time that Uranus stationed retrograde up until the solstice period were the temperance relationships. Now, for a lot of those relationships that we're effectively seeing the mutual effort, I keep on seeing, I keep on hearing there's this energy that's almost saying to one another, "I'm sorry I ever doubted you." But I keep on hearing the energy almost saying, "I'm sorry I ever doubted you, but you are energetically exceptional," right? And that's what's so beautiful. Like that's what I keep on seeing about some of these partnerships that are coming together, because what is happening in some of these relationships, they're clearing a lot of the debris of the past in relationality to what they energetically expected versus what they're finding in partnership. And this is what we talk about. This is why we talk about all this. Remember when I said that these temperance relationships are so fortified? They've built into the context of partnership so in such a stable fashion, because for a lot of these relationships, there was some kind of observation or fear of expectation that someone potentially was not being clear in relationality to their manifestation goal, right? Like when we're not embodying our manifestation, our words don't match our action. And I keep on seeing that these are some energies that are coming into union right now that are recovering or working through the trauma. And I keep on hearing they're working through the trauma of others' self-deception. I'm going to say that again. They're working through the trauma of others' self-deception, which is so difficult because it is the wound that another person does not recognize they have until the time that they energetically wound us by recognizing the fact that they were energetically not being honest with the self. And so that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of these temperance relationships, there's potentially a heart opening that's happening right now, because it's the space. Remember when I said that those were those relationships that had to come together, not only right as they were getting started, right? Just as they were starting to get started, what happened? Retrograde energy, things from the past rising back up, challenging the energetic direction in terms of what they set their energetic intention upon. And this is why we see that for a lot of those relationships, feeling the release and relief of encountering energy that builds towards the resolution of the self, but not just building towards the resolution of the self, but not lying to the self in the process. This is a lot of the energy that is articulating. This is what I meant. This is what I meant in terms of the energy, almost saying you have no idea what you mean to me. Because this is the energy that almost says, I didn't believe, I started to lose faith. I started to lose hope. I started to lose hope that was something that could be, right? But this is what I meant. This is why we do the work of shadow work. This is why we do the work of inner healing. Because when we do, and again, I don't like the word, I know shadow work, everyone gets like, ooh, scary about it. It's just aversion. It's understanding our own aversions. Because when we are working through our own energetic aversions, we build towards things, navigating, we heal ourselves of the illusion of energetic self-deception, which is the space by which we're not being honest to the self because we're working more in a space of aversion. So everything we keep on seeing here, like there's a lot of that energy. Remember, that's why we were seeing so much of that strength card coming up, because it's the energy that sees someone moving in that space and feeling the strength of this is like, I almost see the energy like starting to build those plans with one another, like building into that. I almost feel like there's a little bit of this building of momentum, if you will, as it relates to the energetic excitement of having working through those experiences. This brings us to Page of Swords in combination with our Knight of Swords in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. We've got here our Eight of Pentacles in its upright. So let's talk a bit about, now this is hard right now for those Magician partnerships. And now the Magician partnerships right now, I keep on here, like these were, as we mentioned, these are the relationships that were coming together from between the solstice period up until the time of Mercury and Venus stationing direct behind Neptune. For a lot of these relationships right now, I want to see, like, look what they're experiencing, right? They were working to dispel misconception on energy outside of partnership, potentially having to articulate upon a past that looks similar to a present, right? The healing past that often looks similar to something that wasn't necessarily healthy for us, right? But even seeing here, like this is the moment, I keep wondering, this is the moment for some of those relationships as it relates to the energy outside of partnership where the rubber is hitting the road, right? Because if this is the work that they're articulating and expressing to another, how much joy they found, how much happiness that they've experienced in working towards that, we keep on seeing that for a lot of those relationships, that ability of articulating upon that ability of speaking through it, that ability of building into the space of articulating to another how stable one feels if someone doesn't experience it or accept it with the same joy by which we ourselves are finding it. I keep on seeing that for a lot of those partnerships, this is those modalities where they may be feeling the weight of seeing the energy around the partnership changing, but also understanding that when we see energy around us changing as we maturate, right? That is, like, keep on seeing that's a lot of the energy that is working through that energetic process, or potentially even articulating to one another what's happening, but also building into the point of stabilization in recognizing and identifying. And almost, I keep on hearing, like, building into a healthier relationship with time in the process, because hoping that time will help to resolve or fix something. Because I keep on seeing you can't force wisdom into things. You can't force wisdom in relationality to a natural process that is occurring towards someone that's more in that state of energetic resistance. Continuing to get clarification between our Page of Swords and its upright and our of Pentacles and its reversal. We've got here, wow, we've got double eights today. Double eights. We got the Eight of Wands in its transverse. So let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing here in relationality to, how do I describe this best? In relationality to the retrograde eclipse process that we're currently experiencing. Like I said, it's spiky energy, right? So it's spiky energy because of the fact that the eclipses have a tendency of wanting, like, it wants to increase something. It wants to amplify, right? The retrograde often tries to often feels like we're being energetically pressed, okay? And so if you're feeling this energy right now in like I keep on describing it as like it's spiky energy, which means like it's a lot of like back and forth. But that's why we were seeing that Wheel of Fortune coming up yesterday, right? Which is just allowing oneself to move towards what feels energetically like, how do we work through spiky energy? We center ourselves, right? We work through spiky energy by centering ourselves. And so I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy right now, deep within, like in separation, what's beautiful about that is, and that's what I meant in terms of potentially going through a process. Remember when I kept on saying that a lot of the energy right now in separation is potentially feeling frustrated or fortified because they're going through the process of understanding that healthy partnership reinforces our center. Healthy partnership always reinforces our center. And so the space by which, and you'll recall that that's what I meant. So, and we're going to talk about this again. It's not the fact that I don't see some relationships right now that are healing in the context of being able to articulate upon the past. I keep on saying there's a marginal amount of this energy that is healing upon something from the past, but the shape by which that healing is occurring is having to do with someone that's found their center, is what I keep on saying. And when they find their center, right? And this is what we mean. When we find our center and we feel like we brought an overabundance of emotionality to something that was very small, right? Then that's the energy that I almost see like works in accordance with finding one's own center to be able to articulate and amplify why one feels. Then I almost feel like what's beautiful about that is it's almost like the energy that, like I keep on hearing, like articulates to another something of significance. But also I keep on hearing it's like the apology that has no energetic attachments to it, right? Like that's what I keep on seeing in terms of something coming into a space of energetic restoration, is I almost feel like whatever I'm seeing there that feels like it's restorative is almost like the energy that I almost see like does so in such a way that they say that they're not looking for anything in the space of giving that space of reconciliation to another beyond the fact that it's helping them further stay within their energetic center. So I keep on seeing like there's something I keep on hearing there's something bittersweet in the space of those energetic apologies, because I keep on seeing it doesn't affect energetic proximity, but it potentially helps another on their own healing journey, right? While for the energy that's working towards fundamental closure right now, as they're working towards their own process, I keep on seeing like this is what we talk about in the fact that we don't walk away when we're feeling a lot of emotions on something. We work them out, is what I keep on seeing, right? We work them out, which is like we build into the context of being able to energetically resolve upon it. And this is why, remember when I said, and this is why I feel like there's so much of that energy building into the sense of centering while in the process of healing and separation. Because again, that's those moments that when another person comes back, and I keep on hearing there's potentially some experiences where another person was potentially expecting some kind of like great, like I keep on hearing like, aren't you like, it's like the energy goes, aren't you glad to see me? And someone being like, I prepared a treatise, like I prepared like which is the space by which another person says we don't build up, we don't allow the buildup of desire to try to allow for a restoration to occur. It's the energy that articulates upon the fact that when we're building with one another, we articulate upon where we're going, not upon how much we want one another. And so that's what I keep on seeing, that this is the energy. It goes, aren't you glad to see me? And someone saying, I have found my center, which is the space by which another person says that the desire is not going to, you can't build a healthy partnership solely on desire. But this is what we like about some of the relationships that we see that are occurring during this time, because these are the energies that are putting their desire on their energetic standards. Okay. Which is again the Two of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with the King of Swords in its reversal. And this is what I mean in terms of these relationships that are coming together, which is the articulate, I keep on hearing like this is the energy that's working through the space. Like these are the relationships, and that's what I meant in relationality to the moon, like the moon cycle, the moon relationships. Why can't I have both? Which is the space that understands that when we understand ourselves, when we work into the context of embracing what we care about, we're not afraid of the things that we energetically desire. We work to understand them. We work to understand the self. We work to energetically resolve what feels like it is energetically supportive to the self versus what feels like something that we're working to heal from. So that's what I keep on seeing about the relationships that are coming into being during this time. It's the understanding that the way that we protect one another is, like I keep on hearing, when we do our shadow work effectively, which is again working through aversion for therapy, like working through the space of understanding our aversions to understand our desire, that allows us to be able to recognize and identify what feels energetically supportive in terms of what it is that we're seeking in partnership. So that's why I keep on seeing like there's a lot of this energy that is fortified by strong conversation, because it's the strong conversation of recognition and understanding that allows the ability of working into partnerships of, and what was the key word that we saw that was happening? What were the energies creating? What were those temperance partnerships creating or working or striving towards? Comprehension. So these are the relationships that are coming together right now. And what are they working on? Comprehension. The comprehension of the self that then allows the ability to understand another even better. Continuing to get clarification between our King of Swords and its reversal in combination with the Seven of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. We've got here our King of Wands, King of Cups in its upright. So what do we see? What do we see with a King of Cups energy? So a King of Cups energy, and this is having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. For a lot of the energy we're identifying or working through in relationality to, I keep on seeing the understanding or recognition of the self. And I want to say this, we've got, I want to stress this right now. We've got almost the entire suite of the swords cards out on the table right now. If you have an opportunity, make sure that you head over to our stack later today if you'd like to see this spread, because it's a very interesting spread. But the only thing, and it's interesting too, I want to see if she's going to come out. The only card we're missing in the suite of swords right now is the Queen of Swords, because this is having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy. Bearing again in mind, this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. I'm almost seeing the space of the feminine that is occupying this area here, right? And this is why this is what we see in relationality to feminine, working in the context of the understanding of the self. And this is often what it feels like when we have to hold our standards, right? Like, this is warrior energy. This is like, and the problem with holding standards is we infinitely would prefer we didn't have to, right? But yet we feel compelled to do so. It's like, that's often what we experience when we're holding. This is how we can tell, right? This is how we can tell we're honoring our standards. Usually the way you can tell you're honoring your standards is, I would rather not. It's like, I would rather not have to. And yet here we are. Is what I keep on seeing. Like, this is often what we see with like feminine holding their standards, being like, I would really rather not. But if you insist, right? Because it's the understanding that the force that we put towards things is something that we feel is necessary. It's not our first choice. It's like, it's not our first choice. It's often our last choice. It's like, okay, if you insist, it's working through that space. But this is what I see, right? And this is what is beautiful, though, between masculine and feminine. Because this is the feminine, that this is often what it looks like when feminine standing in their power, right? Feminine standing in their power isn't the feminine like working through the context of being like, you know what I mean? It's not feminine running around with the sword all the time. It's the feminine that says, the space, and that's why, because you don't want to force standards on things, right? Like, and here's the thing about it, because you can't force standards. And it often requires feminine to be in the space of observing, not absorbing, because you should have them. You should have them, right? You should have them. And often the only way you can recognize standards is via the process of energetic observation, right? It's the space by which you're like, it's the space by which you work through something and you say, that's interesting. You know what I mean? It's the observation and recognition. And that's what I keep on seeing in terms of the feminine that articulates and says, standards are often fortified by healthy conversation. Because I keep on hearing, if someone gets energetically too triggered to have a conversation, well, there's somebody who's being compelled by their passions, right? If someone can't stand the space of having a hard conversation, that's not someone safe. That's not someone safe. That's someone led by their passions, right? So, similarly, and this is why we see, like, this is a lot of the feminine potentially working through that context, being able to articulate that, the understanding that the work we do in not being dispassionate is the greatest act of compassion that we can have for ourselves and those around us, because it's the ability to feel energetically stable when internally you feel volatile that creates the context of creating that energetic support around us, right? Similarly and simultaneously, we see that for a lot of the energy right now of the masculine, this is I keep on saying, this is the masculine and feminine in energetic alignment in a certain way, because this is masculine articulating on the same lesson, right? The force by which we energetically protect one another is not the space by which we feel that we have to protect one another. When we work into the context of saying, I have to protect you from something, it shows the fact that we've ignored work, right? The space should not be the context of saying, I have to protect you from things. It's the energy that says, I work so that you don't need that energetic protection in the first place. And so this is what's beautiful about that, because we see that this is a lot of the masculine energy doing the due diligence and understanding that work starts within the self, right? We clean, I keep on hearing, we clean we work through the cleansing of our energetic temple first before we bring that forth to others, because it's the space by which we create that allows something to energetically flourish. So I keep on seeing that for a lot of the masculine energy, like doing that work, it's the understanding of what it means to check the self. It's like the spiritual power of checking the self before you wreck the self. Before you wreck the self. It's the understanding that we allow for the space, that often in the space that we feel that we need to defend, we become the force that is energetically problematic, right? It is understanding the motivation of doing so, but also understanding the calibration by which we bring it forth. And that's what I keep on seeing in really, and that's I feel like that's happening effectively across all of the frequencies, right? Like working through the process of being energetically vulnerable, understanding and doing that work, right? I almost see the masculine like doing the work and saying it starts with me first, right? It's like it starts here and it expands from there, continuing to get clarification. And that's what's beautiful about that. Remember when I said this is the conversation that I see. Remember when I said those nuanced conversations that are occurring, that are starting these new relationships? That's what we see that's happening here. Continuing to get clarification between our Eight of Pentacles in its upright in combination with the Eight of Wands in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with our wheel. There's that, man, that's so cool. The Wheel of Fortune out again. And I need to stress this. This is pretty great. I just want to point this out to you guys. And this is why I say go check out the stack and look at today's spread. This Wheel of Fortune, there's a lot of cards in this deck, friends. This Wheel of Fortune is in the same spot that it was yesterday. Not only the same spot, it's in the same direction. This is, and I meant, like, this is what I mean in relationality to, like, working through the context of an anomalous eclipse, which is the space by which this eclipse is anomalous, because there's a lot of energetic anomalies that are happening planetarily that are coming into, like, that are experiencing the amplification of the eclipse process. What are those anomalies that we're energetically speaking upon? We've got a profound, every single planetary object, and I have to say planetary object right now, because some of the things retrograding in Aries aren't even planets. They're all in retrograde, which is the space by which we can build a lot. It can build really hard on our own sense of volatility, right? Having all those planets in Aries presses real hard on our volatile instincts. Okay? We've also got the fact that Jupiter is all alone in Cancer, which can create a lot of sensitivity and feeling isolated or feeling like something is directed towards the self. That's why I keep on saying right now, I don't want you presuming things. Don't make assumptions in this type of energy. Because again, Mercury in Virgo in combination with Jupiter in Cancer, and then all of those planets retrograding in Aries can often create the misconception of something coincidental happening that feels very energetically personal. So that is why we work through the context of understanding, bringing what did the Mercury retrograde teach us when it was also retrograding in the midst of all of these planets in retrograde. Have you tried putting a little compassion on it? Okay. Have you tried putting a little compassion on it? Giving others the benefit of the doubt, understanding that everyone is going through this energy is how we get through it together. Continuing, and that's what I keep on seeing. And that's why I keep on seeing that in the context of the relationships, right? Finding the energetic center, right? The ability, and that's what I meant. And that's what I said. There's no relationship that is being healed by another person's impatience, which is the space by which I said, if somebody's coming back and being like, are you done being emotional yet? Right? Someone being like, I almost see someone saying again, I was never being emotional in the first place. I was being fundamental, right? It's the space by which you understand and recognize the fundamental that allows the ability to, again, articulate upon what one is trying to do in a better fashion. So that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy, there could be a lot of trauma that is being released in this energy. That's the benefit. But I'm going to tell you, the problem with releasing trauma is you're going to be real frustrated as you release trauma. You're going to be frustrated as you release trauma because you're going to be seeing and recognizing cycles. That's why we talk about the fact. That's why we talk about the fact that healing, your healing journey is not linear, and often the first thing you're going to feel is real mad about it. The first thing you're going to feel is awfully upset or awfully frustrated about something that you now can effectively, energetically observe or recognize. But at the same time, and this is the thing about it. You know, and I want to describe, like, and that's why I'm going to tell you, man, some of these relationships right now that are coming together, it's moody. It's moody. These are moody. It's very, there's a mood. It's a mood. It's a vibe. It's a mood. Because I got to tell you, I just wanted to explain this. You know, I literally see some energy that is coming together going, I just did something I never thought I could do. Like, that's what I mean, or I never wanted to have to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like that type of energy. Do you understand the energy I'm talking about in some of these new relationships that are coming together right now? Like the weight of someone being like working through the energetic unfairness of something and feeling the energetic unfairness and then like immediately just trying to move through it, right? Like that's what that's what I see about this retrograde cycle and these new partnerships coming together. It's like literally, it's like the relationships that are coming together at you caught me at a bad time. You know what I mean? It's like the relationships. They're the relationships that are coming together with the mood of you caught me at a bad time. Like, continuing to get clarification between our Eight of Wands in its reversal in combination with our Five of Pentacles in its upright. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with our Three of Swords in its upright. So let's talk a little bit. But here's, and remember when I said, for a lot of these relationships, these temperance relationships coming together, frustrated but fortified. Look at this, because I want to show you, this is our center pillar right now. And that's a 5, right? That's a 5, because it's the space by which we understand and recognize, right? Like this is why, like this is what's so beautiful about these partnerships, because these are partnerships that, you know, I keep on hearing the energy almost saying, you weren't kidding about that, is what I almost see. It's like the energy that works through something. And what's beautiful about those relationships is, and I keep on hearing, they're working on their understanding. I keep on hearing their understanding that when we energetically mesh, we work on things together, which is, I keep on seeing this energy that's almost articulating to one another and saying, I don't want to burden you with something. And another person saying, you couldn't burden me if you tried. Like that is the energetic force of love, right? It's literally the space. Like this is what we articulate, right? The dual force, right? This is how we keep the balance of love intact. It's the song that says, I don't want to burden you. You couldn't burden me if you tried, right? It's the combination of building into that fabric. And that's why I keep on seeing that this is the energy that is looking towards one another. And I feel like it's beautiful, because I almost feel like they're apologizing for ever doubting another person's energetic intention, because I keep on hearing like I can almost hear the energy moving into partnership, these temperance relationships. They're almost saying to one another, I apologize if I doubted you, but you are exceptional. I've never met anyone like you before. And the space by which they're saying, I've never met anyone like you before, is the energy that says, I never met anyone like you before who does not deceive the self. Right? Because when we understand, when we do the work of comprehension, we heal the ability of self-deception. And it's not to say that we're perfect in that way, right? We're always learning more about ourselves. But I keep on seeing that this is the energy that is building into the space of relationship as sanctuary, because this is the energy that feels the weight of being able to trust one whose words match their action, because that is the space. The only way you can have your words match your action is if you've healed the work of self-deception. And this is why we work to heal the ego, right? Because often you can tell the difference between a healthy ego and a non-healthy ego, because a non-healthy ego often deceives us. A healthy ego fortifies us. An unhealthy ego deceives us. So it's a lot of that. Where again, welcome to Uranus in Gemini. It's going to be fun. All right, continuing to get clarification between our Five of Pentacles in its upright in combination with our King of Cups in its upright. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Clarification. Ooh, coming through right now with our Six of Cups in its upright. And we like to see a Six of Cups in its upright. We very much like to see a Six of Cups in its upright here, because I want to show you this. Okay? There's some Sacred Heart energy here, because we got the three of Swords, right? Fortified by the Wheel of Fortune and the Six of Cups. And what does that say to us? That says to us that a healthy heart, and this is the misconception, this is why I'm going to tell you right now, you don't go on a healing journey so that things feel good all the time. You go through a healing journey so you understand. You work on understanding the self in a deeper way. You work on understanding the full breadth and the full intensity of what we energetically carry. And sometimes it feels like it's energetically overwhelming, right? Sometimes it doesn't feel like there's enough space inside of us to navigate everything that we energetically feel. But when we have compassion for those that we care about, guess what? We make room, right? There's always more room, right? There's always more room. It's a space by which we always make energetic room. We always have the ability to do so, right? And so I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy doing that work right now. Remember when I said so I'm seeing here that for those temperance relationships, potentially going through a heart expansion, right? This is a lot of the energy potentially moving deeper into partnership, and they're going into a heart expansion because they're feeling the space of trust, right? They're feeling and they're seeing the resolve in someone whose words match their action, that is allowing them to effectively energetically share more, to express more, to articulate deeper upon something. And for the energy, and while again, for the energy moving deeper in divine union, these are those magician partnerships that we spoke about. This is the energy going through something that is potentially bittersweet. There may be something that's happening right now for some of that energy moving deeper into divine union that feels like it's a little heartbreaking, because I keep on seeing that when we find something that is energetically beautiful to us and we articulate that to others, and others express disappointment instead of joy, we realize we're going through a maturation process, because the sign of maturation is someone that does not prioritize the same things as we ourselves do. So that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of that energy, like working through the frustration of observing something that they're articulating to another that should be a cause of celebration, but instead is bringing up rumination. Like, this is the energy that again is looking to time. Like, this is why we talk about the fact that maturation, we often heal. Like, again, this is why we talk about Saturn returns. We heal in our Saturn, because it's the energy that looks to Saturn and goes, can you please handle this for me? Can you please? Saturn's like, I'll see what I can do, right? Like the perspective, like the hope that the perspective will allow someone to heal something in relationality to experiencing it or perceiving it the same way as we ourselves do. Continuing to get clarification between our Wheel of Fortune in combination with our Three of Swords and its upright. Ooh, we got our Two of Swords in its reversal. So many swords out today. But this is what I mean. This is what I mean as it works to being in the energy of working to resolve things, right? Like, I need to point this out. Like, when we're working to resolve things, and I need to stress this, like, the gift that we give is, like, don't, it's like, it's a lot of that, like, the space by which we understand and articulate the difference. I keep on hearing, like, the difference between something that we're trying to do versus, and I want to describe this in the space of some of the energy of apology that I'm seeing that is occurring right now in some of this retrograde energy. Because you will recall that what we articulated upon was the fact that there is some resolution that's happening in this particular eclipse retrograde cycle. And the eclipse retrograde cycle is helping another person recognize and identify the overabundance of emotions that sometimes we want to calibrate for, because we realize that when we bring emotions to things that are not important, we often energetically damage things, is what we see. Because the space by which, when we are operating too much in our ego, we make a big deal out of things that aren't important, right? It's like the space by which we understand or we feel something. And this is what I keep on seeing. And this is why we keep on hearing no two feelings are alike. We do the work to ascribe meaning to our feelings because it shows us where the work goes, whether it's something that needs to happen internally or it's something that needs to happen external of the self. Because when we feel a lot of emotions towards things, sometimes we feel a lot of emotions and then we say, why do I feel this way? Right? And when the higher self says, let me walk you through it. Let me sit you down. Let me tell you why this is so energetically important. We're able to derive and understand why we feel the things we do. This is how time heals things. We're able to put words to it, to articulate and elaborate upon something that we felt strongly about. When we move towards the process of time, this is also how we come into the space of reconciling things that we wish to heal from, to heal better. Because the moments or modalities that this is the inner child healing, where we look at something and go, ooh. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, like that's not something that was necessary. That was something that was too much from the egoic space, right? We're able to take accountability that when we put emotions in the wrong places, we damage things, right? Emotions can build things. They can also tear them down just as quickly. And this is why we're energetically mindful in relationality to where we place emotion, because it's that sense. And again, when we build the understanding and relationality to where we put emotions, then others see us in the space of being energetically reliable, right? The ability of being able to articulate and identify what it is we're trying to do in a better capacity. So I keep on seeing that there's a lot of energy right now, again, working through frustrated but fortified, right? Absorbing, seeing something, being able to recognize it and being energetically okay with it. And that's why I kept on seeing that for some of this energy and separation, I almost see the energy that is honoring themselves because they recognize the shape of them making different choices. And making different choices is rarely easy because it's not, I keep on hearing, they're not building into the choice upon what they wish was happening. They're building into I keep on hearing, our wishes become reality when we start to create from the space of allowing the reality to be the ground by which we build, not working towards the energetic fantasy of what we hope will be there without any evidence of it being so. And so that's what I keep on seeing. Like, I almost feel like there's a lot of the energy and separation that's simultaneously also going through that maturation process. This brings us to a lot of the energy that's moving deeper into divine union right now. Clarification between our Three of Swords and this is what I need to point this out, like, and I want to stress this, right? We've got the energy in separation that's healing via the centering in reality, right? Like the reality that heals, and what's happening for the energy that's coming into divine union. something magical is happening. Okay. So again, the ability, the magic that is fortified in the reality of the space, the understanding of moving into something, right? The understanding of recognizing that this is a lot of the energy. Like I almost hear the energy saying to one another, "I'd given up hope." Like you know what I mean? I'd given up hope. But that's why I can see this energy that says when you give up hope, you find hope, right? Because when you, it's the same conversation, which is the space by which you don't demand perfection from others. You identify it, you work towards it. It's something that you create together. And so this is why I keep on seeing that for some of the energy, being able to build into the context of the words that match the action. This is a lot of the energy that's almost like like I almost feel like it's funny because the energy is almost apologizing to one another for ever doubting each other, but also understanding the context that when you experience someone that's exceptional, it's like when you experience and you find someone that's energetically exceptional, it's easy. I just keep on hearing them say the same thing as they're moving deeper into divine union, which is I've never met anyone that didn't deceive themselves the way that you don't deceive yourself, right? Which is again, when we stop deceiving ourselves, magical things can occur. Continuing to get clarification between our 3 of Swords in combination with our 6 of Cups. Yeah, there's the Knight of Wands and it's upright, right? Because it's more of this, and this is what I like, and this is what I mean. These 2 cards are really important in relationality to working through the context of this energetic eclipse retrograde cycle, right? I want to describe this as it's like it feels, and I want you to feel like if you're working through this and you're feeling like things aren't working, your mantra right now is new ground, right? Don't be focused upon something that's not working the way that you would expect it to. Identify and experience the ground by which you are working upon is what I keep on seeing. Because for a lot of the energy kind of working through this and like this space right now, the best way I can describe this is, and we were seeing this, like it's the intensity of going through a Virgo cycle with all of this energy in retrograde. It feels almost unfair. It's like I want to describe. It's like it can sometimes feel very energy. It's like that's why I said my heart goes out to those with Virgo placements, because it's like often you have to understand Virgos have a very it's the ability to identify and what perfect looks like. And sometimes and that's why we talk about sometimes perfection itself, the ability to identify perfection feels like an energetic curse because you're like, it does not look perfect, right? But when you understand that concept of perfect is in here, right? Nobody else can see it, right? Like you often notice this. You can, you work like this often. What those with Virgo placements have to help get through that. Like others see something and they go, "It's great," and you're being like, you know what I mean? Like it's like that. That's what we get. That's what we get a little bit in relationality, and that's what I mean. We're going through, and I got to tell you, it's like the Mercury in Virgo right now with all of this energy in the space that it is. It's like the icing. It is like the cherry on the icing on a very, very messy cake. It's like all of this stuff. Then being like, but just a little But even in the sense of that, but I need to point this out. I need to stress this though. Sometimes that's actually beautiful. Do you understand? It's taking the wabi sabi of something and just owning it, right? It's a moment I need to put it out. It's like the moment that something looks like a mess and then you put a cherry on it that goes, it's perfect, because then suddenly it is the understanding of what feels energetically intentional, right? It's the observation, and I keep on seeing, and that's what I meant in relationality. And I keep on hearing that's why I keep on hearing that there's a lot of closing out of cycles that feel like and I keep on hearing this is the icing of the cake moment to a certain extent on some of those relationships. The ability of another, like I almost see some situations where another person was leaving the context by which something could heal with another person, right? I keep wondering, having the progressive conversation, but then in the moment where another person comes towards them, and instead, right, instead of having that point or being able to come into that, they say, are you done being emotional? Right? Like, are you done being emotional? Which is the space by which it's like I keep on seeing the energy go, it's the understanding of recognizing what is happening between us and another person that allows us to release trauma and come into a space of healing, because it's the comprehension of an unhealthy energetic cycle, or understand. I'm even seeing some energy right now that's even letting go of the concept of unhealthy, potentially saying there is someone that does not hold the same standards as I do. And what do we do when someone doesn't hold the same standards as we do? We give them proximity, is what I keep on saying. When someone does not hold the energetic standards as we do, we give them the energetic gift of proximity, which is the ability to recognize and understand and say, like, it's okay. Like, that's okay, right? Like, I almost feel like, again, it's almost like some energy in separation, releasing hard feelings. Right? Like releasing hard feelings with the understanding of what is happening between them and another person, and then giving them the energetic gift of proximity. And so I feel like, and again, for a lot of the energy right now that is, coming into divine union, this is the energy getting closer. You see what I mean? So again, we've got some energy in separation that's feeling like that's feeling that sense of accomplishment. And then we've got new relationships that are starting with those delicate conversations. And now we've got the temperance relationships that are coming into partnership right now, and they're articulating to each other the full expanse of how they feel about one another. It's like I can see that it's like almost the energy that goes, I finally feel safe enough to admit to you everything I feel, because this is the energy that feels fortified in being able to trust someone. And I keep on hearing these are energies that trust each other because they see that they've healed from self-deception, right? That is what the gift of that retrograde cycle was for those temperance relationships. Remember when I said really strong foundations? This is the energy that says, I have never seen you deceive yourself, right? And never do we feel safer than in the arms of someone that does not deceive themselves, because that is the energy that works into the context of recognizing and identifying what that energetic force of protection feels like, or what it is that, like, and that's why I keep on hearing it's like the energy that's it's like I keep on hearing they're going through a heart opening process, even though they've been together for a bit of time. Now, for a lot of those, for a final card for today's spread between our Two of Swords in its reversal and our Knight of Wands in its upright, there's that Four of Wands in its reversal. So let's talk a little bit about the Four of Wands in its reversal. The Four of Wands in its reversal, more than anything, speaks to us specifically and particularly as it relates, I keep on getting, it's like as it relates to working on, I keep on like, and you remember when I said, these are those, a lot of this energy that we're seeing right now has to do with those magician partnerships that are moving deeper into divine, like that have moved deeper into divine union, right? Like this is like, I keep on hearing like if these are relationships where they're seeing energy shift around them as they come into partnership, they're effectively almost saying to one another, they're healing by saying to one another, they'll come around someday, right? Which is the observation that when we understand, like when we understand the significance of centered partnership, or the observation of what it means to be within partnership, we don't take it energetically personally. If another person gets it doesn't affect the relationship if another person like articulates upon the fact that they feel like there's something we're doing wrong by focusing upon it. Like that's more of the understanding of being able to look at that as a maturation issue. And that's why I keep on seeing the energy that like I keep on hearing it's like they sigh and say they'll come around someday, because it's the observation of understanding that, and this is what we talk about, like those with commitment issues will potentially see someone centering partnership and say you're going in the wrong direction. Right? It's like, and that's the energy that says they have different standards than we do. They're not like, they don't have the same standards as we do. And that is why we see that a lot of that energy is saying, well, and that's why they're healing their relationship to Saturn, because they're saying, time, there's only one thing that can fix that, and that's time. Bottom of the deck on this reading today. Woo, the Tower. But this is the thing, I need to point this out. Okay? It's like the thing about this energy is like, woo, it's like, Remember when I said like Pluto in retrograde felt like a haunted house in the summertime? Summertime's over. So now it just feels like a bit of a haunted house. Like, Pluto in retrograde's like, my season has arrived. It's a lot of that. It's a lot of this energy that works. I need to point, like working in the intention of fear doesn't heal anything, is what I keep on seeing. Fear builds upon fear. And so I keep on getting that, like, I feel like I see like a lot of energy right now working through the difference between energy that works towards building into when we heal, we work to alleviate fear, which is, again, fear is the opposite of energetic healing. And it's not, and I keep on saying, like this thing that we have to be afraid of is energetic fear, because when we're energetically fearful, we're not working towards building things. We're working towards like what the energetic fear dictates. So I keep on seeing that a lot of the energy that we're potentially working through right now is the space by which another person tries to logic their fear, which is the space by which one feels a fear, but one doesn't want to investigate it or understand it, but one wants to build around it to be energetically protective of it, versus the ability of doing energetic shadow work, which is the ability to, I feel like that word is intimidating. It's working through the space of our emotion or aversions to understand ourselves better, to be energetically our best version of self to ourselves and those around us. So I keep on seeing that there's a lot of that work right now, and some of it can feel energetically polarizing. Make sure that you are not becoming a source of fear. Make sure if you're encountering it, you're trying to heal upon it, make sure that you're articulating it. And I keep on pointing out the best way to heal fear is through healthy questions. The best way to alleviate fear is healthy questions, because I'm going to bring it up. You guys know it's my favorite analogy. Our fear is like a creepy child that likes to tug on our shoulder and show us a scary picture, right? And sometimes they tug on our shoulder and we go, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" And it goes, "I made you something." And you go, "What did you make me?" And they show you something and it's weird and there's nothing you can do about it. And you go, "Wow, buddy, that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to put this over here." Okay. Like, we're just going to put that there. Thank you for the note. Really appreciate it. You're doing a great job, right? And sometimes the fear tugs on us and goes, "I got something for you." You go, "What?" And he shows you something. "I made you this." And you go, "Okay, buddy. Oh, you know what? We can do something about that. That's helpful. You know what? I can take that suggestion. We're going to take that and we're going to do something. And now we're feeling better about it. How are you feeling? Good. Okay, cool. This is what it feels like. That's what shadow work is. That's what shadow work is. So make sure that you're doing that. Make sure you're doing that for yourself. Make sure that you're doing it for others. And again, when you hear like horses, not zebras, give others the benefit of the doubt right now. Okay. Because I don't want you like allowing your worst case scenario to move you into a space that then you got to come out of this retrograde eclipse thing and then come to me for a reading because you are allowing your anxiety to energetically guide you. And I will say it's not the fact that like we fortify our anxiety by being energetically productive through it, by moving it or spacing it into a space of excitement. And I'm going to tell you right now, we don't need to work with every energetic frequency. If just feeling stable right now, if just feeling centered is hard enough, you're already doing a great job in this energy. That is enough, okay? Don't be too hard on yourself. that is our daily collective read. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and receiving it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my site. It is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember, I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site. So I would encourage you to do it there. A couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who attended our recent class on the Tower card. Our next class will be held on Thursday, September 18th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the star card. If you would like to become a part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head on over to my stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my stack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we've learned or studied thus far. And if you become a founding member to my stack, not only will you receive a discount on the whole year's worth of classes, you'll also receive a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, where I will meet with you personally to assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage moving towards your tarot goals going forward. You'll also have full access to the Tarot Church Library Class Archive, which is access to over 17 hours worth of material in an ever-expanding library. You'll also have access to, one of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. You'll have access to my Mystic Meditation articles, which give you updates energetically on what we've been experiencing in the cards. Just wrote one on the full moon we just experienced. I also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits. Also, for my students seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits. Also, for my students that are seeking, I'm also very happy to now offer dream interpretation readings, which you can purchase per dream or as a series. If you purchase the series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again on Monday.